Okay, Joyce, you can go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Helping Parents Heal is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting parents whose children have passed. Through support and resources, we aspire to help individuals become shining light parents, meaning a shift from a state of emotional heaviness to hopefulness and greater peace of mind. HPH goes a step beyond other groups by allowing the open discussion of spiritual experiences and afterlife evidence in a non dogmatic way. HPH welcomes everyone, regardless of religious or non religious background, and encourages open dialogue.
Thank you, Joyce. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We are so happy to have Vikki Reed back again. I am going to read a quick bio of Vikki's. Oh, it just went away. Let me get back here.
That's a sign.
No, we're going to read the bio. Okay. Vikki is a mixed media artist, teacher, and certified Biofield Tuning practitioner. She began her creative journey as a watercolorist and now works in contemporary mixed media style, often incorporating jelly print collage into her pieces. Over the years, she has come to deeply understand how creativity can serve as a powerful tool for processing emotion, restoring balance, and beginning to build bridges through the journey of deep loss. That's all. I have been seeing Vikki for several years as a biofield practitioner. Um, has been so helpful in my healing journey, and love going to her house for our sessions because I get to see all her beautiful art, which is all over the walls and in her practice room, and I get to also every once in a while go visit her art room where all the magic happens. And it's so fun just to see what other people have in their art rooms and the stuff they collect and people, especially people that do, I feel like people that do jelly printing and collage, they often have so much random materials, and so I always think that that's fun and interesting. And I've learned a lot of tips from Vikki about things that I can use in my art and in my jelly printing. And so anyway, I'm so glad that Vikki's back to share her practice and her wisdom and her love of art with us again. Thanks, Vikki.
Becky, thank you so much. So I heard a rumor that some of you out there have jelly plate supplies and that you are not using them. And I hopefully can remedy that. And if you don't have supplies, I will just briefly tell you that to do jelly plate printing, you will need a jelly plate. This one's a 5x7. I'm not going to use that one today, but you could start with a 5x7 and make greeting cards with a 5x7. So that's a good place to start.
Do you have a certain jelly plate that you particularly like? You know, I've gotten a couple different ones, and one of them that I got just didn't, I
Yeah,
felt like the paint did not stick to it at all.
correct. Yes, you are correct. That's a very good question. I prefer the gel press plate. I like gel press over jelly arts, but those are very comparable. And there is a plate also called Gel Elf. And there's another one, I just tried it out. It's a random name, but the Gel Elf plate is very different and does not receive paint in the same way. The Gel Elf plate is very much more designed for photo transfers and laser print transfers and photo transfers, which is something I'm not very good at. I've seen people that are amazing at it. For whatever reason, I'm not good at it. So, Jelly Arts plate is great. And they have less expensive plates. They even have do-it-yourself plates, but I can't speak to that because I don't know. I won't know. I can't answer questions about that because I've never used them. Um, so you need a jelly plate. You can go small, 5x7. I like the 8x10. This is an 8x10. This is what I use the most. You will need paper, which can be anything. You can use copy paper, book paper. I like rice paper, but you don't need rice paper. Any kind of paper that is fairly pliable. You will need a brayer. I like a soft brayer. This is a Speedball soft brayer, 4-inch. If you're just going to get one, I would get that. I have many more because I do brayering that involves not wanting the paint to mix too fluidly. And so I use brayers and brayers separately to keep the paint separate. You will need some acrylic paint. My favorite paint is golden fluid acrylic. You can also do, there's Liquitex soft body, which I like. I don't do as well with the heavy bodied paint. This is heavy body. If it's in a tube, you can use it for jelly plate printing, but it is a different process. I did just record a video, which is on YouTube right now, about 5 very common mistakes that are made starting out. So that might be something of interest to you. And another big point I make there is, depending on where you live, your plate is going to behave differently. And what I'm saying with that is that humidity and temperature do make a big difference in how your paint dries, because acrylic paint is not going to dry. If it's very, very cold, acrylic paint won't dry properly. It's very, very hot, acrylic paint will dry too quickly, and humidity will really factor in. So that's something to think about when you're, just know what your conditions are, and you can learn to work around that. But often I'm asked, well, what was the drying time on that? Well, I could tell you what my drying time was, but it might be different for you because of your conditions. Okay, so paint, jelly plate, brayers, paper. Then what else do you need? Flowers and leaves, or anything. Legos, Duplos, glass, rollers that are patterned. You can use, I love this shot glass. That's one of my favorite tools. This one, love this. I just cleaned them in your honor. Stencils. Want to use stencils? Stencils are awesome. Silicone trivet. This I cut out of a bin that I found at Goodwill. Whoops. And this has a really cool pattern. So, yeah. So I feel like that's a good, that would be your basics. You've got what you need. Let's see what it looks like, huh? You ready?
I'm ready. I just want to make a few comments. I love the one of the best tips you gave me was getting the crystal pieces from thrift stores and using the bottoms of the crystal pieces. That has been the coolest mark making for most of any of the stuff that I've done. Also with paint, I think, like you, I think golden is like the pinnacle of fluid paints, but I will, if I'm just starting off and I don't want to spend that much money on paint because golden is expensive paint, I get a lot of stuff from Dick Blick, and Dick Blick has its own fluid paints that you can get. I use those sometimes. And I don't know if Michael's does or not, but I do know that Dick Blick has its own, it's a Dick Blick brand.
Is it
The
essential?
colors aren't, I don't think the colors are as great, But if you just want to be practicing and you don't want to be spending a lot of money, that's a great alternative. So
Yeah,
that's
that's a
all
good
I want to
tip.
say.
That's a good tip. I would love to know the name of that. I mean, I guess I can look on Dick Blick and see their
It's just
fluid.
Dick Blick. It's Dick Blick fluid mediums.
Okay. Fluid
Um,
mediums or fluid acrylic?
Fluid acrylics.
Okay.
Fluid acrylics.
Okay, that's a great tip because, and I should try them out, evaluate, because I'm constantly asked about that. I did not like, weirdly, the Liquitex fluid acrylics. I like the Liquitex soft body, but I did not like the Liquitex fluid acrylic. So,
There you go. Okay, so do you want me to pin? I will pin
yeah, pin. Yeah, pin, pin,
pin
pin.
you.
Huh? Just
I,
just the tables. You don't
yep, you are good to go.
yeah, we don't need to see me. Okay, can you guys see okay?
Yep.
Okay, so what I've got here, besides a lot of stuff, is this is my 8x10 plate, and I have rice paper here. I'm going to brayer off what I can't use on my plate. So the first thing I'm going to do is just a base print. I'm going to use a light color and get just a plain base print. Now, this will be one of two. That's not what I want. One of two different ways to do a base. There are unlimited ways to do a base. So just to be clear, there are many, 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 many different ways to do this. All right, so and using less paint than you think is advisable. So I'm just brayering that out. The thinner fluid acrylics will do something that's known as lacing. So there will be little white bubbles on the plate, which bothers some people, and it's already going away there. So I'm going to brayer that off, and I'm going to get a piece of rice paper, and I'm going to lay this over the paint. And I have also learned over time that the edge of the plate is where a lot of times, if I don't make good contact there, I can't pick the print up as well. So I try and make sure it's got contact all the way around the plate. Okay, and that's already dry, and I'm pulling that up, and we have just a base. Oh, I'm showing the
That's pretty.
I'm showing the screen in front of me, which is not where the camera is. Okay, so that's a base print. Now we'll go with layer two, and I'm going to use some of this mesquite, these mesquite leaves here. And I have to be careful to avoid the bottoms because they've been sitting in water. Now I'm going to go with a little contrastier, going to go darker than the base coat, which was already a little bit, maybe a little darker than I should have gone, but so I'm going to go a little bit darker here, and got paint on me. And you can see it's not really looking like a lot of paint. But we'll brayer this out. And I kind of like that it's not smooth. I like the variation. And another thing that I have realized over time is that brayering is, so I brayer it pretty gently. And I had one in-person jelly printing course here. And I noticed that there was a tendency to brayer as though you were trying to iron something. And that is too heavy. That's too much. So I'm putting the mesquite leaves on here, which is super fun. These are really cute. These have the little bitty ones. And we'll throw that in there, a little bit more of the little bitty guys. And then, might as well just add a little Duplo. In there. I'll leave that one alone. And then we'll take our base print and go over that. I'm going to press it down, and I'm going to press really carefully to get all the imprint of the leaves. This is not drying immediately. I could have maybe used just a little bit less paint there. But it's fine. And I do have a little bit of moisture from the mesquite twigs.
How can you tell when it's dry, Vicki?
That's a great question too. And it's not feeling completely dry to me, but it is enough to pick up. I'm just looking at it. As you see, I'm looking and pressing. If I see paint still left there, I'm picking it up. But one way to tell if it's dry, if you cannot look at it, is that it's going to feel cool and damp to your hands. Yeah, this is wet. This is a little bit wet over here, so that's not an optimal result, but that's okay. And then we were going to get all that little, love those little guys. Those are so cute. Okay, so that's looking a little bit Christmassy there. All right. Can you see that? Oh, there we go.
So fun.
Okay. So that's your layer 2. And of course, we can pick up this as a ghost layer. And that should, for the best result, and see there's a little bit of moisture there. I can see that that's not dry. For the best result, this should be completely dry before you add more paint, but we'll go ahead here and I'm gonna pick this up with a very light, and see where I use this, there's no imprint left on the plate. That just got picked up. So only the leaves left a ghost print. Okay. All right, and we'll go with the layer 3 for that one here in just a moment. Any questions so far?
When you're using rice paper, how do you know which side to use? I can tell there's a little difference. Like
Yeah.
one side has a little bit of texture to it. Are you
Okay, yeah,
using the
I
side
have
of the rice paper that has texture to put down or the smooth side?
I use the smoothest side, and
Okay.
honestly, rice paper is not created equal. I've purchased some rice paper that is so full of fiber. Uh, I don't care for it. I don't like the fibery rice paper. Okay, um, I'll show you the rice paper. And while that's sitting there for a minute, I'll show you some of these. So I'll show you some of these jelly prints. So this is like an abstract one, and just fun. This is one that I specifically did using hibiscus. Is it upside down for you guys?
Yes. It is.
Okay,
There
well,
you go. Yeah.
okay, I guess I'm working upside down for you guys. We should have
It's okay.
worked that out. These are some sort of stencil-y things. Another one of these. And then this is these are flowers.
Wow.
These were the and here's another one done completely using stencils. So we can move to the flowers next. I might need to do two plates at once. Yeah, the flowers are super fun. So yeah, it's sticking a little bit at the edge. So I'm really careful when I pull so that I don't leave, you have another chance to get it before you just pull and leave a bunch of paint and paper on the plate. Oh, I was going to show you the rice paper. See if I could show you. So yeah, that's the ghost print, and you can see the texture of the leaves. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
I love that. That is so much fun. All right, so let's go now with the final here on the first one. This one, we'll go in with some contrasty um, blue, green, turquoise. Let's see. Do you want? Oh God, look how pretty that is.
That is
Oh.
lovely. I love that color.
Um, do we want a eucalyptus, or I'm gonna do the yellow bell. What I want to do.
The other thing I've found with rice paper is some of it comes apart a lot easier than other paper.
Yeah, well, it does tear quite easily, but that is since I want it for collage, that makes me happy, actually.
Have you ever tried like vellum? It's a little bit thicker.
Vellum, yes, I
Yeah.
have tried vellum, but that's too, it doesn't tear as easily. And I've tried printmaking paper, and I've seen people print on Bristol. And honest to God, I don't know how they do it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get this ready for some flowers. I'm gonna go ahead and press this in here. Um,
That just makes me happy already.
well, this color contrast here, this and this is just perfect. Dynamism. Um, okay, yeah. So that needed a little bit of paint on it before it could get really ready to rock and roll. All right, so we're gonna put this down here now. Ooh, getting all hot again. Oh, and I do want to show you the difference on the rice paper. So now this was not exactly the color balance that I wanted. It's pretty, but it's not exactly what I wanted. But that's okay.
Is it darker than you were thinking?
It's just a little more instead of yellow orange and blue teal, it's a little more reddish. That's because I used the pink in there. Whew, man. And we didn't get quite that whole leaf, but that's okay. Okay, and we've got, an interesting flower. We're going to do better flowers than that. But so then you've got this combo here, and we have another chance to pick up a ghost. Now, this really should dry before you pick it up. So let's switch that out. But look at the
It's
veining in the leaves there. Can you see that?
it's really nice. Yeah.
It's a little blurry when I hold it up like that. Okay, so I'm going to switch that off to the side, and we're going to go. How are we doing on time? Are we good?
We're good. We're halfway through.
Okay. Um,
So you've got so far you've got three layers on this
okay,
first one that you
yeah.
did. How many layers do you normally do, Vicky, when you're doing a print?
Well, that there's like there's not a normal, like that's enough. I don't love this print though. I don't
Hmm.
love this print. I mean, I'm not satisfied with it. So what happens next? I don't know. You can keep printing until it gets rough, and then you kind of can't. I can't pick up anymore. Take this moment to show
Find
you.
the paper that you've been briaring on quite interesting too.
Yes, yes, yes. In fact, where did I put that? Yeah. So and some people are really masterful at using that, which you totally can. This is one that I'm showing the wrong camera. This is one that was a Braille sheet, and then I put a little more paint on it, and I can use this to pick up a print. So, and I did want to show you on the rice paper. I'm not sure you'll be able to see it. How this side is shiny and this side is not as shiny. I don't think that's coming through, but the shiny side is the side that you want to use. Let me see if I can find it. I think I've got the paper all sitting here. And we could do a different paper. Copy paper. I use 24 pound. I use 32 pound. This is Bristol. It's quite stiff. This is printmaking paper. This is something I haven't tried yet that I got at the thrift store. There we go. It's still waiting to be experimented with. I should have had some rice paper handy that is textured rice paper, so you could see the difference. Oh, and pattern paper. This is another thing I really like to use is pattern paper.
You can find that at thrift stores a lot of times too.
Correct. That is correct. Okay. Sorry, you can see the laptop now. I don't know. Did it change? Did
No,
it get larger? Okay. Let's keep going. Now, I know I've got one down there, but this one's going to take some drying. So I'm just going with straight black and braying that out. And I'm going to wait until it's got a little bit of tackiness to it, because I'm going to try and use the flour to pick up the black paint. So I'm braying really lightly, and I can feel it starting to stick. So that's enough. All right. Now we'll use the flour. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, you can see the details a lot more.
Yeah.
So it's just needed a little paint on it.
Need a little paint on it because acrylic paint sticks to acrylic paint. Oh, that's so great. This is really beautiful. Very happy with that. I'll show you when I get, because this is a limited time window. At a certain point, it will become too dry to pick up anymore. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, see, it's starting to be too dry to pick up. Okay. And when that happens, you can still pick up with glass because it's a sturdier, um, well, what do we need more of? No, no, go. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to want the dark in the center, um, like is there. And so I'm going to paint a little bit of that on. Now, I normally would use my finger, but I don't want to be a bad influence. So I'm going to just use a brush. But when I do this, I can't stick the brush in water because um, it won't give me the optimal result. So I'm not going to put it in water. I'm just putting it in paint. I'm going to just do the center. And then this is going to dry. So we'll pick up our other plate and pick up that ghost print of the leaves, which is why at some point you might want to have more than one plate, but you know. Like a little bit of lighter paint in there.
It's amazing how it already makes it look three-dimensional.
Well, the now this was getting too dry down here, so it didn't pick up as much, but the detail on these flowers is just, can
Oh,
you see
yeah.
it? I mean, that is to me, that's just it's a sort of a photographic quality, really.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Okay. And then what I'd like to do in addition is add just a little bit of, and there's a couple ways to do this. Um, okay, I'm going to be busted here because I'm in my cutoffs, but I'm going to get acrylic markers. And we're going to add a little detail here because when I put the pickup layer over, I don't want it just to be all red, right? I want some variation. So we're going to put some acrylic markers in here. You could also do paintbrush. Some people like pan pastels.
Oh, really? You could use pan pastel on top of that too?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Huh.
Many people do that.
So
And
that's just an acrylic paint pen.
this is an acrylic. Yes, and these are Graby. Many people love the Posca. I'm not a Posca fan, but it's all preference. And honestly, I feel like a lot of why I love what I love is because of my conditions. If I live somewhere really cold and damp, I might like just completely different things.
Yeah,
These are
it does make a big difference. I have certain times a day I can't even paint because
right.
paint
Yes.
dries so fast.
Well, and that's what you need to know. I mean, that's what you need to work around that. If you know your conditions, then you can work with and around them. You don't have to you don't want to try and push through that. I mean, you can, but you're probably going to be super frustrated. I'm just adding just a titch more, and I'm adding
And what's the name of those again? I'm always like to try new paint pens.
gravy, and I've had a hard time
Oh,
finding.
I do. I just got those. They're
Yeah,
fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
I
do like them better than Posca's.
I don't. I've just not done the Posca. Just is a exercise in frustration for me, and I'm just so surprised that people
I think
love
it's the
them because,
tip.
huh?
I think it's the tip for
Yeah.
me. I
Well, and so
tip.
many they're dry. They're just dry. I don't. I Now I know this is weird, but I want this pop of um, turquoise in there. So
I love a pop of turquoise in a
I
painting.
yeah. Okay, now this has to dry. If I put the red paint on there now, it will just be a hot mess. So we put this one aside. And the black was already dry. The black was dry. So the black was not wet when I did that. Okay, we'll put this off to the side. Now we come back to this one here and let's see, what do we want to do? Should we do
Mhm.
uh, we'll do a little yellow and of course this is going to need um, another layer, I feel. That was too much paint, which is tragic. Well, and one thing I want to say also about your supplies and spending money on your supplies. One thing that I did notice when I was teaching watercolor is that there were people that would buy student grade watercolor and watercolor paper and never be able to do anything and quit. And I don't blame them. But the thing is, the reason they could never do anything was because they were using student grade, really crappy paper and paints. And wow, that's kind of sad, because it wasn't their fault.
I feel like that's more pronounced in watercolor than anything else, too.
Yeah,
This makes
100.
a huge difference.
Yeah,
I found because I did the same thing. And yeah, buying Daniel Smith watercolors was a lot
yeah,
different.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yes, indeed. And using tube watercolor instead of pan watercolor, which I
Mhm.
found extremely frustrating because um, I like an intensity to my color. So
Yeah, me too.
yeah, and so we're getting really beautiful detail on the leaves. I have to watch the time now. Oops, here we go. Oh, here we go. All right. And you see that?
Yeah, that is
Okay.
great detail.
And then, then like you can, okay. So cover your ears because I'm going to clean a little bit of the paint off the plate here, and it's going to be quite loud.
Oh, I didn't know this trick.
Well, you got to watch my jelly printing basics.
I obviously do.
Yeah. And there it is, it's gone. Okay. Ready to rock and roll. All right. So, now you could use a stencil over this. You could, well, you can do anything you want, but you want to see a stencil before we grab the other print and
Yeah, let's see a stencil.
yeah, we'll do a couple. Because honestly, I don't like to do a whole page of the same stencil because I want a variation. I want the color and a variation of pattern. So I don't want the whole thing to be the same. Now, we have blue, we have yellow, orange. What are we going to put on top of that? Okay, I'm going to go with a red brown. That was too much. Girl, that was too much. Um,
What do you do if you get too much paint on?
Excellent question, Christy.
Because I do that quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, so you're going to brayer it off. And that is the sad thing because, well, and then, if you're going to use your brayer sheet, then yeah, then go ahead. And we can use that. We can use that. But you got to brayer it off. If it's this squishy, I did put that in the latest video. And it was actually very hard for me to do it, to let it, to create a really crappy result on purpose. It was very challenging for me. So, to see how much I'm brayering off. And I knew instantly that was too much, but it just kind of happened. So I keep brayering it down until it's going to be a manageable amount so that it's not squishy. And all right, so we'll do this. And I do just keep loving this one. Oh God, I love this one. I love this little circly one. And we'll do some of the numbers. Now on the numbers, you need to put it down so it's backwards for you, or else it won't, it'll be backwards on your print. And then, if that's not enough, you can have a piece of yoga mat and just create a little more um, um, difference in there. That one was better because it's starting to be the right dryness. Okay, here we go. And your question before, like how many layers do you go? I will go as many layers as it takes to get a print I like, or at a certain point, I will be, yeah, see, I don't love that color combination, but at a certain point, it starts to be kind of rough and it won't pick up the paint anymore in the right way. So,
I think one of the most challenging things for me, and continues to be challenging for me, is having good color combinations.
okay, and that's a big one for people. And honestly, I've been asked about this, and I try to figure out the way to teach it, and that is what I'm trying to put together in the material that I'm doing now.
Ooh, look
Okay,
at that.
so that's fun. I mean, it's not. I mean, okay. So I like this area very much. I like what the yoga mat did there, and I like this area right here. Don't like the numbers over it, and yeah, but that's okay because I could still print on this again. And of course, we have a ghost to pick up, and I don't want to run out of time for our other. In fact, let me just scoot this because I can use this after we're off. See, there's still a ghost here, and I can use that. Now let's come back to our flowers. Okay. And we're gonna do some really pretty red orange, right? So we're gonna do red. Is it dry? Yes. Okay. So we're gonna do red. I'm gonna do a little bit of the yellow orange. Maybe even a little bit of yellow because I want it to be varied. And let's take a look at this and see how that looks.
Did you do this with the hibiscus as well, or did you go in and paint the hibiscus
Another excellent question.
flower itself?
I painted the hibiscus flower itself.
Okay.
I do have a reel out there on that particular that print. So that is something you
Okay.
can watch on there's something here.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, Vikki has an awesome YouTube channel. and she has so many demonstrations on there. Um, it's just Vikki Reed, right?
Yeah.
Vikki Reed Art. I
No,
can't
it's just
remember.
Vikki Reed on YouTube.
Vikki Reed on YouTube. So if you haven't checked that out, go to her YouTube channel, subscribe and like.
You don't, yeah, subscribe. Only subscribe if you want to. And I don't do, yeah, I don't.
You want to, believe me. They're so fun to watch.
It is pretty fun. I mean, I do love, 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 love. I didn't get that on there straight. And I didn't show you any other papers either. But
I do use just plain copy paper a lot.
yes, yes, copy paper is excellent. Copy paper is good. And copy paper is better if you're going to try and do, if you want to do note cards and so on. Because the rice paper tears beautifully, but it doesn't cut very well. And it's not sturdy enough for your note cards. Now, I feel like this needs to sit for a minute. We can look at the preview. Woohoo!
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
I could have used some different colors, but ah, do this too. Quickly do this. Should have that 5 minutes is going to be plenty on that.
We can go over to it. It's not a strict guideline.
Not going to shut us
We're
off.
running our own show here.
Good. All right, let's see. What would be fun there? What would be fun?
I mean, I would say turquoise just because I like turquoise and red so much, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, let's mix it up. I like turquoise and I like gold.
oh yeah.
But yes, Christy, your colors. And I do work on the foundation of the color wheel, but it's not strict and it's not as when I looked at trying to explain what I was doing based on the color wheel, I was like, I couldn't show it because the colors that I want are different variations than the exact um okay, this is the time I'm going to use the second brayer. Now, if I picked it up and went right into the turquoise, it would smudge, you know. So, and there's some lacing going on there because the gold is quite thin. You know what else I want? I can see it now. I can see it now. I want some azo gold for the rest of it. Which is why it's great to have. Actually, now we need a little bit of white. And so you can see how you get in here and then you're like, okay, that wasn't quite what I wanted. How about now if I try and do this? Is that going to get me there? Oh, that was close. Now let's see, try it this way. And yeah. And then
I mean,
before you
that's the
know it,
fun of it, right?
yes, it is. Well, it is for me.
Me too.
Okay, should we try and pick it up with the brayer sheet?
Oh, yeah.
We haven't anything to lose by doing that.
Try it.
Oops, I didn't get it. I didn't get it flat on there. Oh, I should have used the should have used the pattern paper. Dang it. Okay. So let's let that sit for a second and we'll grab the flowers here.
I feel like we need a drum roll.
I
This is always the part you're like, did it work? Did it work?
know. Well, I'm going slow because, yeah, because sometimes it sticks. Oh, this is really pretty though. Oh, and
Oh,
look at that
yeah.
top of, that is fun. Wow. Yeah, some of these are going to go into some birds. So glad I did that, right?
Oh, yeah, that's beautiful. The detail is just fantastic.
Yeah, this method. Okay, well, let's hold it up on here. And try to do it this way.
Oh,
Is it clear? Can you see it? Looks so
yeah,
good.
Oh, yeah,
that's
it's lovely.
that's really awesome.
Yeah, so that is so fun, and you can do flowers, you know. Um, yeah, I like flowers. Okay, so color wheel. Um, and then we'll pull that final print. Color wheel. So when
You
you're
can get and you can get these at like any art supply store usually has them.
yeah,
If not
yeah,
at the store, they'll have them online.
yeah. So when you are choosing your color, if you want something that goes, you know, I try to start light and then I choose a similar tone for the second layer, possibly. But if you want strong contrast, and see, like right here, this color across to this color, no, this color and this color, to me, are the blue and orange that are going to really sing. So, but when you want your colors to pop, it's the contrasting color. It's blue to orange, it's red to green, it's yellow to purple. And a good way to remember that is in the meat case. That's why they put green trim in the meat case to make the red meat look more red. That's why Pepsi has blue and orange. If you start watching for it, you will see that those complementary colors, that's what makes it pop. But it's not direct across. When I look at the color wheel, I'm like, no, that is not what I would, that's not what I'd put with that. So I'm having a little struggle with trying to demonstrate that. Um, but that's how I pick my colors, is based on the color wheel and complementary colors. So
Do you want me to keep you pinned? Oh yeah, you got to pull that up.
one more. Yeah, we'll pull this and then we'll be done. That's a little, it's not quite dry, but it's interesting. We were leaving a little bit on the plate, which I will probably pull with a subsequent print. But this is a lovely background. Like you could just do a collaged bird and put it right on top of here, and it's subtle enough. It's a good background print, you know, I think.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I
I'm a
like
sucker for gold. Put gold on anything, I'm gonna like it.
that. Wasn't that a good idea? Okay.
Okay, let me take this pen off. Okay. Nope. There we go.
There.
Before we leave, I wanted to really quick talk about Vicki's new book, which if you haven't seen it, it's called ChakraMandalas, a 12-year mandala journey. And Vicki, maybe you can tell us a little bit, people who didn't see the video when you were on before, tell us how this how this practice came to be.
Okay, yeah, sure. So honestly, when I was little, when I was trying to recenter myself, create some order out of the chaos, I would sit down and doodle and in sort of a circle. And it's pretty common. That's kids will do that. So I was um, making mandalas from when I was small, and it was a way to come back home to myself. Um, but I didn't know there was a name for it. And then when I had been painting watercolor for, let's see, 1989 to 2004, and I basically was getting the intuitive hit, do make mandalas again, make mandalas again, make mandalas again. I was like, no, 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 no. I got this whole botanical, I got desert landscapes and botanicals. I'm not doing mandalas. But a series of events, which I will not go into right now, basically made it. I knew if I didn't listen, it was going to get really unpleasant. And I started creating mandalas again. And the first one that came out actually, and I was like, oh, I'm going to do them in the colors of the chakras, of course. And the first one that came out, I decided was the healing mandala. It turned out to be very deep green around it. And it's like, oh, healing, heart chakra, yay, next. And it unfolded from there. But what I didn't know is that that was actually very uh, personally specific for me. And the way the mandalas came out was a guided curriculum for me. So I did the ChakraMandalas, and then the one that came next, the one that came after that, was actually forgiveness, which was really powerful for me. And that was the first one after the ChakraMandalas that presented in the way that it was intention first, was the subject of the mandala. And I didn't understand how I was supposed to visually represent an intention. Um, and yeah, that's how it unfolded from there. And then I would just hear, okay, the next one's compassion, or the next one's, guidance, and yeah, I really thought that, I thought I was doing it for the world. And it was actually for me. And I do believe it is helpful for some as well, but some people find them also helpful, walking their journey. And of course, transformation is the one that's about grief. So
Well, it's you when we talked about your book the other day, one of the things that you were telling me is how you've been opening it up,
yeah,
asking, you can
yeah,
ask for
yeah,
guidance and open it up to
yeah, yeah,
whatever you get, you know.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
these are
Alan,
just absolutely gorgeous.
okay, well, so the one I just got was unconditional abundance. So, for everybody here, watch for juicy abundance to show up uh, in whatever way it wants to today. So,
And you have beside each one, you have, a little bit about how it came to and what it represents, and a really powerful message to go along with each one of them. And I could just sit here and stare at this forever. I mean, it's just something so soothing about the repetition of it, but also the colors.
yeah,
The one I was looking at last night, this one first, the throat chakra.
yes, power, yeah, yeah.
Love that one. I love that one so much, and probably not going to be able to find, but it had hearts, and it had an infinity symbol in the little heart. And well, I'm not
Is
seeing.
that, my gosh,
Oh, here it is.
I
The
think,
bee one. That's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, let it be.
Oh, let it be. Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know if
yeah.
you get it's not it's blurry,
It
but
can't. Yeah, there
there
it
it
goes.
is.
There it goes. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
I loved reading about it too. It's just
yeah.
beautiful, beautiful work. And to have it all together,
I know.
what
It's
a
been
great
so.
idea. What
Yeah,
made you come up with that?
I mean, I did those paintings, and people were like, "Oh, you should write a coffee table book." I'm like, "No, I'm never gonna write a book. That's stupid." And then what happened was I was talking to my sister at the end of last year, and I said, I used to post a mandala and an encouraging message on my ChakraMandalas Facebook page every day. And she said, "Oh, I would love to see those inspiring quotes." And I went to my document, and it was 38 pages long of inspiring quotes. And I was like, "Oh, maybe that would be, maybe I should put that together into a book." And then, so I asked ChatGPT. I said, "Can you put inspiring quotes into a book and collate them with the mandalas that they match to?" And it said it could, but that's another story. And then I was like, "Wait, what am I doing? I wrote a story for every mandala, and it's my words. It's not, I mean, I wouldn't have to be like, is it okay if I use your quote in my book?" Right? So I was like, "Oh, well, I'll just put 45 of the mandalas and 45 of the stories right side by side." And yeah, it's a whole different way of experiencing them. So that's what I did. And I put it together, and I self published it. And it's not perfect. I mean, there's a couple boo boos in there that I'd like to fix now, but yeah, it's out there. And I love that
It's like art. I mean, that's what makes it unique is for it not to be perfect.
yeah. And of course, the mandalas aren't perfect either. They're all hand done. There's no computer generation that made that. I did them all. They're all but two are watercolor.
And I wish people could see them in the original form. I mean, if you look behind Vicky, you can see the size
Yeah, I'll grab one if you
of
want.
them.
Yeah,
It's just as beautiful as they are in this book, seeing them in person and the size of them, it's so beautiful. Um,
guess guess which one popped out first? Unconditional abundance.
oh my gosh.
There's
Uh,
a ring right in there, but
just
yeah,
exquisite,
yeah,
really.
yeah, yeah. See the fishes in here?
Hmm.
Yeah, my son's like, "Mom, fishes don't have eyelashes." I'm like, "Well, mine do."
They do in my art. Well, Vicki, thank you so much. Can you tell everyone how to find you, how to find your art, how to find your book, and how to find you for biofield tuning if they're interested? Because I know
Okay.
that you can do it. You don't have to do it in person.
No,
You
no,
can
it's
do it
yeah,
remotely. So
yes,
if you could just tell everyone how to reach you, that'd be great.
yeah. So Vikki Reed, Vikkireed, VikkiReed.com for my website. Vikki Reed YouTube channel. On Instagram and Facebook, I'm ChakraMandalas. The book is on Amazon. Book is on Amazon, ChakraMandalas. And iTunes People is my. But if you find me and you want to know about tuning, I can refer you to iTunes People. That's my website for the biofield tuning.
Okay, yay.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for coming and joining us again. That was
I hope you had
wonderful.
fun jelly printing. and
Oh,
and where is your co-host there?
she had to leave. She was going to the birthday party.
Oh shoot, I want to know that she gets her jelly plate out and starts printing.
We'll let you know. And anybody that explores the jelly printing, please post it on our Facebook page.
Yes.
And I will send it on to Vicky so she can see too.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. I do have a Jelly Plate Fun Facebook group that's private. So, I mean, that you can join. I mean, you know what I mean? You can join it and it's about jelly plate printing. So, thank you. Thank you, Linda. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Vicky.
Bye.
Bye.